The book Great Sayings. Words of Sri Ramakrishna, Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda. With best compliments from Ramakrishna Mission. Sayings of Sri Ramakrishna. You see many stars in the sky at the night, but not when the sun rises. Can you therefore say that there are no stars in the heavens during the day? O man, because you cannot find God in the days of ignorance, say not that there is no God. Man suffers so much simply for want of devotion to God. One should therefore adopt such means as would help the thought of God to arise in the mind at the last moment of one's life. The means is practice of devotion to God. There are pearls in the deep sea, but you must hazard all perils to get them. If you fail to get at them by a single dive, do not conclude that the sea is without them. Dive again and again, and you are sure to be rewarded in the end. So, also in the quest for the Lord, if your first attempt to see Him proves fruitless, do not lose heart. It is the power of Brahman in man that causes the mind and the intellect and the senses to perform their functions. And when that power ceases to act, these also stop work. A man who spends his time in discussing the good and bad qualities of others simply wastes his own time. For it is time spent neither in thinking about one's own self nor about the supreme self, but in fruitless thinkings of others' themselves. Be not a traitor to your thoughts, be sincere. Act according to your thoughts, and you shall surely succeed. Pray with a sincere and simple heart, and your prayers will be heard. One is safe to live in the world if one has viveka, that is, discrimination of real from the unreal, and the vairagya, dispassion, and along with these, intense devotion to God. The magnetic needle always points to the north, and hence it is that the sailing vessel does not lose her direction. So, long as the heart of man is directed towards God, he cannot be lost in the ocean of worldliness. He is a true man who is dead even in this life, that is, whose passions and propensities have been curbed to extinction as in a dead body. Seekest thou God, then see him in man. His divinity is manifest more in man than in any other object. Man is the greatest manifestation of God. Look at the anvil of blacksmith, how it is hammered and beaten, yet it moves not from its place. Let men learn patience and endurance from it. One can ascend to the top of the house by means of a ladder or a bamboo or a staircase or a rope. So, too, diverse are the ways of approaching God, and each religion in the world shows one of the ways. In this age, work without devotion to God has no legs to stand upon. It is like a foundation on sand. First, cultivate devotion. All other things, schools, dispensaries, etc., will, if you like, be added to you. First devotion, then work. Work, apart from devotion or love of God, is helpless and cannot stand. If you say, I am a sinner, eternally you will remain a sinner to all eternity. You ought rather to repeat, I am not bound, I am not bound. Who can bind me? I am Son of God, the King of Kings. He who thinks that he is a jiva verily remains as a jiva, but he who considers himself to be God verily becomes a God. As one thinks, so does one become. Do not let worldly thoughts and anxieties disturb your mind. Purify the spectacles of your mind, and you will see the world is God. As the dawn heralds the sun, so sincerity, unselfishness, purity, and righteousness precede and advent of the Lord. The more is a man's attachment to the world, the less is he likely to attain knowledge. The less his attachment to the world, the more is the probability of gaining knowledge. Give up everything to him, resign yourself to him, and there will be no more trouble for you. Then you will come to know that everything is done by His will. Meditate on God either in an obscure corner or in the solitude of forest or within the silent sanctuary of your own heart. If you must be mad, be it not for the things of the world, be mad with the love of God. As soft clay easily takes an impression, but not hard stone, so also divine wisdom impresses itself on the heart of devotee, but not on a bound soul. The ego that asserts I am the servant of God is a characteristic of the true devotee. It is the ego of Vidya, that is knowledge, and is called the ripe ego. The companionship of the holy and the wise is one of the main elements of spiritual progress. That knowledge which purifies the mind and heart alone is true knowledge. All else is only a negation of knowledge. Water is dried up at once if you poured on a heap of ashes. Vanity is like this heap of ashes. Prayer and contemplation produce no effect upon the heart puffed up with vanity. He alone is a true teacher who is illuminated by the light of true knowledge. Sugar and sand may be mixed together, but the ant rejects the sand and carries away the grains of sugar. So the holy Paramahamsas and pious men successfully sift the good from the bad. Wherein is the strength of a devotee? He is a child of God, and his devotion, tears, are his mightiest weapon. The spiritual minded belong to a caste of their own, beyond all social conventions. He alone enters the kingdom of heaven, who is not a thief of his own thought. In other words, guilelessness and simple faith are the roads to that kingdom. Women, whether naturally good or not, whether chaste or unchaste, should always be regarded as images of blissful divine mother. Don't find fault with anyone, not even with an insect. As you pray to God for devotion, so also pray that you may not find fault with anyone. Dispute not. As you rest firmly on your own faith and opinion, allow others also equal liberty to stand by their own faith and opinion. It is said that truthfulness alone constitutes the spiritual practices of Kali Yuga, that is modern age. If a man clings tenaciously to truth, he ultimately realizes God. Visit not miracle mongers and those who exhibit occult powers. These men are stragglers from the path of truth. If there is a small hole at the bottom of a jar of water, the whole water will leak out. Similarly, if there is the smallest tingle of worldliness in the aspirant, all his exertions will come to naught. The soiled mirror never reflects the rays of the sun. Similarly, those who are impure and unclean at heart and are deluded by Maya never perceive the glory of Lord. But the pure in heart see the Lord as the clear mirror reflects the sun. Money can fetch you bread alone. Do you consider it as your sole end and aim? He is truly a man to whom money is only a servant. But on the other hand, those who do not know how to make a proper use of it hardly deserve to be called men. The sun can give heat and light to the whole world, but he cannot do so when the clouds shut out his rays. Similarly, as long as egoism veils the heart, God cannot shine upon it. The young bamboo can be easily bent, but the full grown bamboo breaks when it is bent with force. It is easy to bend the young heart towards God, but the untrained heart of the old escapes the hole whenever it is so drawn. Men are of two classes, men in namely only Manush and the awakened men, Manhuansh. Those who thirst after God alone belong to the latter class. Those who are mad after women and gold are all ordinary men, men in namely only. Rainwater never stands on high ground but runs down to the lowest level. so also the mercy of God remains in the hearts of the lowly, but drains off from those of the vain and the proud. Those who wish to attain God or make progress in their devotional practices should particularly guard themselves against the snares of lust and wealth. Otherwise, they can never attain perfection. Do you talk of social reform? Well, you may do so after realizing God. Remember, the rishis of old gave up the world in order to attain God. This is the one thing needful. All other things shall be added to you. If needed, you are care to have them. First seek God, then talk of lectures and social reforms. The true nature of Jiva is eternal existence, knowledge, bliss. It is due to egoism that he is limited by so many upadhis, that is, limited adjuncts, and has forgotten his real nature. If you can find out the nature of Maya, the universal illusion, it will fly away from you, just as a thief runs away when detected. The cat catches her kitten with her teeth, and they are not hurt, but when a mouse is so caught, it dies. Thus, Maya never kills the devotee, though it destroys others. He is born in vain who, having attained the human birth, so difficult to get, does not attempt to realize God in this very life. Jiva is Shiva, all living beings are God. Who then dare talk of showing mercy to them? Not mercy, but service. Service, for man must be regarded as God. Let me be condemned to be born over and over again, even in the form of a dog. If so, I can be of help to a single soul. As a piece of rope, when burnt, retains its form but cannot serve to bind, so is the ego, which is burnt by the fire of supreme knowledge. A truly religious man should think that other religions are also many paths leading to the truth. One should always maintain an attitude of respect towards other religions. Every man should follow his own religion. A Christian should follow Christianity and the Mohammedanism. For the Hindu, the ancient path, the path of Aryan rishis, is the best. I will give up 20,000 such bodies to help one man. It is glorious to help even one man. A boat may stay in water, but water should not stay in the boat. An aspirant may live in the world, but the world should not live within him. Do everything that is necessary in the proper time and let your mind be always fixed on God. All religions are true. God can be reached by different religions. Many rivers flow by many ways, but they fall into the sea. They all are one. The true laden with fruits always bends low. If you wish to be great, be lowly and meek. Be as a devoid of vanity as a cast away leaf carried by the high wind. God cannot be seen so long as there is the slightest taint of desire. Therefore, have your minor desires satisfied and renounce the major ones through right reasoning and discrimination.